Right, now these will sound familiar to you, okay? This year, I want to save more. This year, I want to build. I want to be a better version of myself, yeah? Usually, these new me resolutions are, well, by the end of the year, not really achieved. I'm sure you can remember what you said at the beginning of 2018, right? Well, here we are. So how do we ensure that we set goals that we can actually achieve? How do we get back on track when perhaps at some point during the year we veer off? We have with us a career success coach, Doreen Baffo. And we're very excited because she's going to get us started on a tangent to greater heights. Doreen, how nice to meet you. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you, Kojo.
All right.
And Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah.
And good morning. I'm sure half of the world is tired today.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yes,
They're
yes,
probably
yes.
just crawling out of bed right now after a long night.
Definitely. So how about we all get ourselves a cup of coffee?
I'm working on some tea. It's on the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's for our viewers as well. Grab yourself something that keeps you awake so we can get started right. So how do we set goals? I'd like to have us do an exercise.
Okay.
So for everybody watching, get yourself a blank sheet of paper and a pencil or a pen. Now list out the very important elements of your life. For you, Kojo, what are those important elements?
Work, family.
Work, family. Health.
God, health, yes.
God. Okay. Maybe friends sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finances.
So,
that's all.
finances. So that's about 6 areas Kojo has listed. Now draw a big circle on that blank sheet. And let's divide that circle into 6 boxes or portions.
Yeah.
So in each portion, list out those elements that are important to you. So for you, Kojo, that would be your career, that would be family, that would be health, spirituality. Now, for each line where the important elements start, I need you to write a scale 1 to 10. So 1 is for your not so best, when it's the lowest, and 10 is for when you are at your very best. So do that for all the portions on your circle. Now this is where the fun gets started. So let's take one very important element. So Kojo, if you had to pick one out of all the 6 you've mentioned, which one would you want to focus on this month?
Work.
Work. So great. So we're picking Kojo's work portion on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is your best and 1 it's not so great. Where would you say you are currently? And I need you to think carefully and mark it. So give yourself a number in your head. You probably don't want to share with us, but if it's okay. Yeah.
Sure.
So you give yourself a number.
Yeah.
So that's where you are currently. Then I need us to ask ourselves some very important questions on this aspect of our life. So for work, is there a time where you've scored yourself higher than you've currently scored yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. What was it like when you scored yourself higher? What was work like? Can you describe that to me?
It was enjoyable, fun. I was seeing results, and making a difference. And I felt like I was achieving all the reasons why I come to work in the morning.
What is it like now? Just describe it for me.
It's just perhaps a little less of the same. So there are areas in which I can tell that I could do better, I could achieve more results, it could be more enjoyable, and so forth. I perhaps shouldn't be working such long hours.
So for you, where work is concerned, would you want to move 1 or 2 places up that scale?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And that's all you need to get started. So now that you want to move, so let's say you're at a 4 or 5, and you want to move to a 7, and you've described what 7 looks like. What do you need to do? What specific actions do you need to take this month to get you move 1 step from a 5 to a 6? What are those actions, Kojo, that you need to take?
Okay, well, perhaps I need to plan my time better so I don't work such long hours. Perhaps I need to work with a list and get things done and take them off quicker. I need to perhaps collaborate more with my colleagues. And there are a number of things that are coming to me that I could do that would take me to a 6.
Okay. All right. And the beauty of listing this, it's after you've done that, I'm going to ask you, what is it that will hinder you from acting on these goals that you've set? What is it that can stop you?
Can't think of anything.
Okay. Now, assuming you could think of something, then we'll take it one step further to say, all right, what will we do to overcome those obstacles? Now, one of the suggestions that I always propose is to work with an accountability partner. And I'll give you a very good example. It doesn't have to be somebody you pay for. If you can afford to pay to work with somebody, even great. But 2017 going on to 2018, my daughter was my accountability partner. So beginning of the year, we did this exercise, and I set myself a goal on my health. And back then, I weighed 81 kilos, and I had said to my daughter, this year I'm going to drop to 74, excuse me, 74 kilos. And so like I do with her, we wrote it out, and I would always say stick it where you can remember and where your accountability partner sees it. So that, you know, when you visualize the goals, it gives you that edge to keep working at it. So I wrote, I was 81, I'm going down to 74. This is January 2017. August 2017, I was 83. I had moved from 81 to 83. Now, one of the goals my daughter set for herself that same year had set my own goal was that she was going to spend less time on her phone. And we're going to use the screen, you know, you get the notification on your screen that tells you how to determine that. So in August, I realized she's doing the same thing, and I'm doing the same thing. So one of the days I had a chat with her, I said to her, Ife, you said to me you were going to spend less time on your phone this year. And then she said to me, Mommy, you know, goals are not easy to achieve. Look at you. You said you were going to drop to 74. Where are we now? That was all I needed to get started. She was my accountability partner. I said, okay, watch this space. So if I drop, would you drop? How often you're on your phone? She says yes. You know why she said yes?
Because she didn't think you could. Yeah.
So I took drastic action. I began to research. What do I need to do differently to achieve those goals? But I wanted one that would be a lifestyle for me. I didn't want a drastic one I couldn't maintain afterwards. So I did quite a lot of research. Thank God for Google now. So I found a few things I could do, and I started. Before long, colleagues at work began to see the difference. In about 5 weeks, my daughter said, hey, Mommy, we're getting serious about this now, aren't we? I said, definitely. So when I had achieved the goal, I stood on the scale and I called her. I said, if you come see where Mommy is. She says, all right, I'm going to drop how long I spend on my phone. So working with an accountability partner helps. So whether it's at work, in your personal life, for health, get someone you can work with to say, okay, this is what I want to achieve. And this is why. The why pushes us to wanting to do it. Often we know the why. But then when it comes to drilling down on those actions, it's where we need somebody to hold a mirror to our faces to say, look here, these are the things you committed to, so that you can get back on track. There are times, yes, you find yourself falling behind, but I think the beauty of life is realizing that and then taking action, not staying where it was that you backtracked a bit, but then having the courage to move on. And that's where a partner helps. So that's one of my tips for the year.
That's wonderful. And I guess, you know, in choosing an accountability partner, you really need to pick somebody who has a vested interest in your success.
Very important.
Because I can tell from your story that up until August, when your daughter had not met her goal of, you know, staying off her phone a bit more, you were more motivated by the prospect of her achieving that goal, and that helped you to work on your own.
Exactly, because as a parent, you are, whether you like it or not, you become a mentor to your children as well. As a leader at work, without saying or doing anything, you are a mentor to the people that you lead. So talking doesn't help you too much. It's your action. So if, for instance, you say, we can't, excuse me, we can't have our phones on when we're speaking to our clients, or we're waiting for our clients to call us, and you always have your phone on. I'm sure nobody believes that this is something we need to do. So I think that's the beauty of having somebody who has a vested interest to work with you to say, okay, we are doing this together, It's in my interest, and it's in your interest as well. And then we work together so that we can be successful together and rejoice together.
That's great.
And we can work on different goals so long as we commit to working with each other. Say this year yours is work. This year, coincidentally, mine is work as well.
There you go.
So if I share with you what I want to achieve this year, you share with me what you want to achieve. All we do is check in on each other over a cup of coffee or tea and say, okay, this is where we committed to. There's a time frame we gave. Where are you? And all I do is hold a mirror to your face so that excuses don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
You're not coming the first time we have the conversation, you probably will have one or two excuses. But when I throw them back at you, feedback on those excuses, you come back thinking, okay, come on, I need to work at this. And so the next month you don't want to come back with the same, have the same conversation. I mean, who falls and stays there when you know that you have a reason to do the things that you want to do? So a very important tip, let's get an accountability partner.
Fantastic.
Somebody who we can trust, who is frank, who will give us feedback because they care about us. And we can have multiple actually, one at work, one at home, one for our social life. Say for those, I've seen on social media, there are quite a lot of people who say they're going a couple of days, 28 days without beer, for instance. It would be nice to work with somebody who's also working on a goal like that to say, okay, be my partner. If we go out together, I'm going for the sparkling water and lemon, you're going for the same. So we watch over each other, knowing that life happens, so that when life is happening, there's somebody who holds us up and knows that we're human, we can fall, but that person is willing to extend a hand and pull us back up. So
now, you described a very methodical way of setting goals. I really liked that, drawing the circle and splitting it up. We're not always methodical about setting goals. We're more ideological. Like, I would like to be this person. What's the advice you would give people? Because the goals that we set, they're good, but is it perhaps the way we set them that make it difficult for us to achieve them? Should we be a bit more scientific about it?
So for me, I say that in trying to, excuse me, I think the weather is a bit, so when we're trying to, you want to eat an elephant, I like to ask the question, how do you eat an elephant, for instance? An elephant is huge. And I wonder if there's anybody who can swallow the elephant all at once. But if you cut the elephant up into tiny chunks, then we can all eat an elephant. So let's say you want, one of the dreams you have is to be a millionaire. And then you put a time frame to it, and it's in 2030.
Right.
That's the elephant, isn't it? Okay. But we need to cut it up into chunks. So what are the specific things that you need to do on a year-on-year basis to take you there? A typical example I share, in my life as a mother, I've had a number of house helps pass through my house. And anytime any of them comes, I like to work with those who have a vision for their life. So I ask them, nobody wants to do this as a career. Why are you doing this? And she says, I want to learn to sew. I want to become a hairdresser. My next question, how much will it cost you? 100% of the time, the answer is I don't know. So that's the elephant. And that's her goal. She wants to become a hairdresser, or she wants to learn to sew. She has no idea how much it costs. So my first assignment to them every time, go find out how much it will cost you. So they come back with a list of things. Auntie, and let's say it's 3,000. But for her, it's such a great goal that she needs to work on. Okay. So I said 3,000, that's fine, that's quite a lot. All right, so if every month I pay you X, how many months do you need to work to get 3,000? So we do the math. And then I make some commitments. I say, if you stay with me for a year, this is how much. So every month I'll give you that, but I do some kind of a mini PF. And if you stay for a year, you get it all. If you're living in 6 months, my PF is mine. All right, so it's me being their accountability partner, but they are working towards their goal. Remember that before this person came to my house, she knew this is what she wanted, but how to get there, even the involvement. And that's why, because our lives are very interconnected, I like to use that exercise that we just used this morning. It's called the wheel of life. So you draw that circle, and you list out those elements that are very important to you this year. Typically, people list 6 to 12 areas. But once you've listed those areas, pick the one area or two that you're committed to doing something about. Let's say this quarter. List out where you are, mark out where you are currently, draw where you want to get to. Describe to yourself what life will look like when you get there. So for instance, if I'm 74, I can wear some kind of shoes that I can wear when I'm slightly bigger, or when I can wear particular clothes, or I can, so I list out, I kind of think about life, what life is like when I'm at my ideal state. And then I look at where I am now, and that tells me where I want to move away from.
Right.
So I know the scenario now. It's not so much what I want, and I've imagined or envisaged what it will look like when you get there. What are those specific actions I need to take? And sometimes research counts. So I find out all the things I need to do. But knowing that life will happen, I need to write it down and share with someone to say, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'd like for you to help me. You're just that mirror for me, to draw me up when I fall, to feedback my excuses to me, to say, okay, hold on, this is becoming, it's just an excuse, you know. So let's break it up and then eat the elephant in chunks. It helps a lot.
Wow, this is immensely helpful. And I've got to say, you know, now I feel confident I can eat an elephant.
Yes.
Yeah. Nothing political about that, by the way. I don't know.
No, I wasn't thinking
if
that at all.
umbrellas were edible, I'm sure we would talk about that as well. But
I wasn't thinking that at all.
Doreen, that is very helpful, very practical, and I think it gives us a different way of approaching our goals for the year. Let's see if we can't do this, you know, with an accountability partner and have much better results at the end of 2019. I certainly can't wait to give you a call and tell you how well I've done.
Yeah, that would be exciting
goals.
to know.
Excellent.
That would be very exciting to know.
Excellent. Doreen Baffo is a career success coach, and she's been walking us through how to set and achieve goals in a more effective way. There's even more coming up on the AM show. We've already talked about how to keep healthier in 2019. And one of those important things we'll have to do is exercise. But if you're like me, then you don't have a clue which exercise is good for what. So when we come back, I'm told we have a little bit of time, which is great because I wanted you to put your questions to our career success coach, and I've just been told we have a little bit of time. So Doreen, if you don't mind,
awesome.
I'd love to get people to engage with you and ask you a few questions about goal setting and achieving them and working with accountability partners.
And also to tell us what they're currently doing to achieve their goals, because sometimes we beat ourselves up too much without giving ourselves credit
for how far we've come.
So if you can share what you're doing currently to ensure you achieve your goals, all of us can learn a thing or two from that as well.
Perfect. All right, so give us a call, 0302-211-691 or 692. Let's talk about goal setting. Let's talk about goals. Let's talk about success in achieving goals. Let's have a chat, 0302-211-691 or 692. Okay. Now, the thing about accountability partners, what occurs to me is that sometimes just by announcing to someone that this is what you intend to do, you give yourself a certain responsibility of having to do it, because otherwise there's one person who will know that you failed. That in itself can be a disincentive to using, you know, accountability partners. You want to set your goal on your own and you don't want anyone else to know about it, and then if you're able to achieve it, then, you know. So how do you overcome that initial misgiving about sharing something as personal as a goal with another person?
So, I understand that, but there are times I've said, maybe I want to keep this to myself. But beautifully enough, research suggests that those goals that you share, those actions that you work with somebody on, you're more likely to achieve them. I give you another practical example. I used to do performance coaching for an organization, and the CEO confided in me at the time, and he mentioned to me that they were supposed to use a particular tool to populate their achievements over a period before I come in at the end of the month to have conversations. And 2 days before I come in, suddenly activity on that platform just shoots up because they were working in a group, and it was group coaching, and nobody wanted to be that one who was letting the team down. Yeah. So that kind of pressure, it's good pressure. It's like when the doctor says to you that if you don't do X, you have 2 months to live. Suddenly, everybody gets on the
X becomes the most important thing to do.
So that's the kind of good pressure. But
we have a caller. I just want to take this call. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But Azuma Wumbe is calling us from Kwandai. Azuma, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
And Happy New Year.
Oh, same to you, brother.
Good. So what's your question for Doreen?
Yeah, my question is, I've been working over this past 7 years. And I actually want to find out how what I can do to actually move forward in my teaching career.
Okay.
Did he say teaching career?
Teaching career. Yeah, here's your camera, Doreen. So ask him some questions.
Okay.
So I've been working for the past 9 years. But actually, where I am now, I don't actually like it. I want to move forward.
Okay. So Azuma, if I hear you correctly, if you had to give yourself, mark yourself on the scale I described earlier, you probably would rate give me how the number you'd rate yourself currently on from 1 to 10. Where are you?
1 to 10, I would say.
Where 10 is your best?
6.
You're at a 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Azuma, what would it look like when you're at an 8? What will your career look like when you're at an 8? Describe to me what it will look like.
It will be blistering, if I'm not mistaken.
It will be
blistering. It will be superb for me. I will like it.
It will be success.
Yeah.
Describe success to me, please. What does success mean for you?
Is it?
What does success mean? Is it that you'll be earning more? Is it that you'll be teaching?
I'll be earning more. And when the position I will like it so much.
Okay, so you'd move from one position to the other.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there specific things, if you had to come up with 3 specific things that you need to do to move yourself from a 6 to a 7 by August, what are those things that you can think of quickly?
I think further education.
I'm sorry, say that again. Further education?
Yeah.
Okay. And what else?
Investing financially to support myself.
You have to invest financially into yourself.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to do this year to move yourself from a 6 to a 7?
Yeah, maybe listening to advice or people like you. If I listen well to people who have good advice for me, I think it will help.
Okay. So if we take investing in yourself financially, what specific things will you do to invest in yourself? When you say invest in myself financially, are there particular things you want to do this year?
Like the education I mentioned, the further education I mentioned earlier, I think I've mobilized some funds and then see to that.
Okay. What are you going to do to mobilize those funds?
To do some little savings for my salary.
Saving? When are you going to start saving?
Maybe this January, I will start that.
Okay, so there's a tip on saving that I can share with you. It's called the 10-20-80 principle of life. 10-20-70, sorry. So if you earn 100 Ghana cedis, 10% is what you commit to charity or sharing. 20% you put it in an investment account for yourself towards what you want to achieve. And then you live on the 70 Ghana cedis that is left. The first 2 months are a bit hard. But once you commit to it, you realize that in 6 months, you'd have done 20 times 6, which is 120. So please find out how much you need to invest in yourself, and let's break that elephant down into tiny chunks. I will leave my email as well at the end of the show, so that if there's further assistance that you think I can offer to you, you can link up via email as well.
That's wonderful.
Thank you, Azuma.
Oh, thank you very much.
Very helpful.
God bless you. God bless you.
Yeah, bless you too, Azuma. I learned something from that as well. Now, Abukari Ubaid is in Tamale. Abukari, good morning.
Yes, good morning and good morning to the woman in the studio.
Doreen is her name. And,
Madam Doreen.
That's right.
Good
Now,
morning,
you're calling from Tamale. Happy New Year to you. What's your question for Doreen?
Thank you. I think the program is actually interesting. It has actually given me an idea of how to actually analyze the kind of things I do and be able to project who I want to be in the future. But interestingly, I think some of us, she made mention of you having like a partner,
Yeah.
who will actually assist you by way of checking on what you do. Or you are also checking on each other. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you find out that as partners, you are able to hold each other accountable to what you have said you would achieve.
That's right.
But for me, I think I have a challenge with that because assuming I am someone from, let's say, I'm from South, then I come up north and I'm working here. And I've not actually have that good relations with friends that they come with me always. Probably I'm in a rented place or something like that, not having close friends. And I work probably with a business company and also have my private business I am trying to start up and all that. I'll always be busy trying to satisfy the two areas in my life.
So you're saying that
it will be difficult to.
How do you find an accountability partner when you are working perhaps far away from home, for example?
Yes, exactly.
I get it. All right. Okay, we'll get you an answer to that question. Let's take one more call. Ezekiel Sote is in Somanya. Ezekiel, Happy New Year.
Many, many happy returns.
So what's your question for Doreen?
Strictly speaking, I don't have any question. What I want to say is that I enjoy the discussion so much. Sometimes, if you don't avail yourself to some of these programs, you wouldn't know what is happening.
Yeah.
Learning, as I have seen it, it should be always and continuous. When you think your level of education, you have learned enough and you can't continue, you will learn again, you are cheating yourself. This morning, the lady, the Dory, and then the host, they have opened my mind to a lot of things.
Thank you.
I believe Sister Dory, when she is leaving, just as she said, apart from the mail, she may leave a number, and then I can call, and then we have a more discussion. Where there's a need for me to even move in, I can do that and then learn more. I am so grateful for this morning's program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Thank you so much for tuning in. And you're the reason why we do this, right? Oh, there you go, new client.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a few more calls, but perhaps let's take a moment to answer Abu Kari's question.
Yes, so for Abu Kari, your accountability partner doesn't have to be somebody that you see every day. It actually is very beautiful when you work with somebody who is not so much your family or friend. So it's a very professional relationship. So if you know somebody at work, he says he's moved from north to south. So somebody at work
south to north, I think.
Okay, south to north. Somebody at work that you respect, you like how they live their life. You want to emulate a few things they've done. Walking to that person to say, I would want for you to mentor me or work with me on this goal, puts some responsibility on the person and some responsibility on you as well. Thankfully, technology also helps us to do a lot of those things today. WhatsApp. So if your accountability partner is in the south, you can video chat, for instance, or WhatsApp video call. It's just starting with the initial goal and listing the actions and nominating someone. And thankfully, technology can help us do a lot of that. So Abu Kari, do not let distance hinder you. Let's see if you can use technology or you can take advantage of some of the great people you're already working with where you currently are and start that journey. And let me know how it goes via email as well. I would want to know.
So I guess the point then is that you don't have to be meeting your accountability partner every day.
No, it doesn't have to be.
You can schedule
you can
periodic
actually
meetings
schedule
via technology, WhatsApp or whatever, and just stay in touch that way. That's a great idea. All right, let's take another call. Oh, I love this name. Trobus Dakura is in Takwa. Trobus, good morning. Hello, can you hear me, Trobus Dakura?
Yes, yes.
Wonderful. Happy New Year to you. What's your question?
Please, I want to know, how can you trust your accountability partner?
How can you trust your accountability partner? Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
So remember that your accountability partner is not it's not somebody who it's not your entire life that you're sharing with your accountability partner. So for instance, if I have to work with you, Kojo, what you want to work on this year is work, your career, and you want to move particular steps. Maybe I want to work on health. I find somebody who also wants to work on their career, and we co-coach each other. But if it's on health, I share only that aspect of my life with you. So if it's if you work with, say, your dietitian, and your dietitian commits to gives you a particular agenda or menu to follow, your dietitian in a way becomes your accountability partner. It's the person holding the mirror to your face. So when you go back and you say, oh, I've had everything you said I should do, but I haven't dropped. The person begins to ask you questions.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you realize, okay, maybe I had all the right things, but the portion sizes were not. So that's what the accountability partner does. So it's not your entire life per se, and it's not somebody, it doesn't always have to be somebody who is in your space, who knows everything about you, so that you're afraid that the person would start sharing. It can actually be a professional, and there are a lot of coaches in Ghana who can work with you.
Now, there's still a let's call it a social barrier. You know, for example, there might be many people watching us whose area in which they want to improve this year is their finances.
Yeah.
And, you know, culturally, socially, we tend to guard financial information about ourselves very jealously. So in this case, how do you pick you know, an accountability partner that you will feel confident telling them how much I earned this month, how much I saved, how much I failed to save, or, you know, who I owe, that sort of thing? I mean, are there some rules you can follow in choosing someone in whom you are going to confide such private and personal details?
For that area in particular, so the finances, it's very okay to work with a professional. And in Ghana, there are quite a number of them, so that the relationship is strictly professional. The person lists you through what your inflows are, what your outflows, what your present commitments, and the person just has a schedule that you follow. So it's very professional, and they are bound by confidentiality. But where you can't work with such a professional in a particular institution, then you want to work with somebody you can trust. And there are people around us that we can trust as well. So you make mention of our culture. There are a lot of interesting proverbs in our culture that actually make you know that sharing your burden is making it lighter. I hope I get it right, but there's something about one ton oyaria. I hope I got it right.
Yes. Close enough. Close enough. Yes.
So it's something like that.
It's a popular one.
So yes.
Yeah.
So it's knowing the person and sharing that aspect of your life. If it's that confidential to you, then a professional it's a great place to start. So for instance, the tip I gave on the 10, 20, 70, I learned it working in an institution. And I keep sharing because it helps quite a number of people. Yeah,
that's wonderful. You know, that's very, very helpful. And I'll tell you what, everything you've told us today is a brand new way of approaching goal setting. We really appreciate you for that. Doreen Buffo is, I want to get it right, career success coach. And of course, we'll leave her email address on our website and on our Facebook page as well, so that you can get in touch. Is it a long one? Could you say it?
It's just info@branchoutghana.com. So info@branchoutghana.com.
info@branchoutghana.com. We'll put that on the screen so that you can write it down and get in touch with her and communicate with her. Maybe you can be an accountability partner for someone who needs it.
Definitely.
There you go.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks again.